And welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. As you can see, I'm still playing around with this NeGcon controller, and it's a heck of a lot of fun, especially on driving games. But as I mentioned when I unboxed it, there's other games like Tempest X3 here that also use the NeGcon. And I thought it might be useful to make a little video showing non-driving games that use the NeGcon and just what they're like to play with. So that's what this video is going to be about. Now, you've seen me play a lot of Tempest X3, highly recommended controller for this game. But let's try a few others here. For example, here is Xevious 3D/G. They say this one should work. Let's give it a try. I know regular Xevious you have to go up and down, so I'm not sure how this is going to work, but they say the twist motion works at least. Well, I mean, it kind of works. It's mostly using the D-pad, though. But as you can see, basically that's what the NeGcon would do, is just twist the ship a little bit left, like rotating left and right. Doesn't really have a major impact on the gameplay. I wouldn't really bother using the NeGcon for this. Okay, so here's another game they say will also use the NeGcon, Cyber Sled. It's also a vehicle game, but it's not a racing game. Let's try it out. Just go with the defaults here. So Cyber Sled is a neat kind of a Tron tank combat game, and it's not the greatest game in the world, but it's alright. I am finding that you mostly use the D-pad for moving around, forward, back, and even strafing to the sides. The only thing that the NeGcon does is actually rotate you in place. Let me just show you if I can get away from this bad guy here. So if I go around the corner here, whoa, too far. Okay, if I just use the NeGcon, I'm rotating it on my central axis, kind of like a helicopter type control. But almost everything else is done with the D-pad. So, yes, the NeGcon is used in Cyber Sled, but I think it'd almost be better just using thumbsticks. Well, there goes that one. Now, if you want a game that actually surprisingly uses the NeGcon well, and I'm not saying this because I'm a fanboy, ironically, Atari Anniversary Edition Redux. This game actually uses the NeGcon really, really well on some of the classic Atari games. It's actually really well implemented, so let me show you what I mean. Now, after making the recommendation of the Atari Anniversary Collection, I will say that the first half of the games really don't work that well. You won't be able to play Asteroids with this. I mean, not very well. You can use the D-pad and buttons, but where the NeGcon swivel action really benefits the title is in the latter half, down among Pong, obviously, Super Breakout, Original Tempest, and Warlords with a Warning, but I'll get to Warlords in a minute. Let me show you how Pong plays. It's actually really good. Also, you're going to have to use the start button as the X on the standard PlayStation controller. That also doubles as both a start and also an X. Let me show you Pong. Alright, so let's start a one-player game. And you can see, it's actually really good here. I don't know how accurate those pedals are. They seem very, very small. Does make the challenge kind of high. But yes, definitely this feels really intuitive and very, very good for playing using the NeGcon as my paddle controller. Now to get out of Pong, I would hit the start button, and I can go up and down the list here. If I want to go to a different game, again, start also doubles as an X button, so I'll just go to a different game. And do I want to? Yes. Let's check out Super Breakout. Here we are on Super Breakout. Let's start a game. Again, really good for the movement of the paddle. Here, I'll move the controller this way so you can see what I'm doing. Definitely a nice way to play a game like this, compared to actually using thumbsticks or a D-pad. I would say this doesn't really compare favorably to playing just Breakout on an Atari 2600 using a paddle controller. But if you've got a NeGcon and you want something a little bit beyond just racing games to try it out, this is actually a heck of a lot of fun, and it's a neat use of the controller. Now I'm going to try out Tempest. This is on the Tempest X3 disc that I was playing at the beginning of this video, but since it's on this collection, let's see what coin-op Tempest is like using this. Interestingly, this one feels a little bit more like actual Tempest from the arcade. The retro version of Tempest that's on Tempest X3 is a kind of a much more basic version of the game that the regular gameplay is for Tempest X3. So, of the two, I think this is actually a better version of Tempest to play with the NeGcon. Now I'm going to finish this one and go to the next and last title on the list. But now this is where we run into a snag. Let's have a game of Warlords. No problem. I'm going to start a new game of Warlords. And I'm purple in the corner. Definitely a good way to play this. It's the full game. It's very, very well done. You can hold on to the shot by pressing the main sort of control button on the NeGcon to launch, just like in the arcade version. Okay, I'm getting in trouble here. Especially now that second shot has shown up. Okay, game over, no problem. Now this is where the problem lies with this version. I can't actually exit out. I mean, I can start a new game, but if I wanted to get out of this and bring up the menu, I can't. If I keep hitting the start button on the NeGcon, it doesn't bring up that little menu like normal. All I can do is continue. I can't even leave to go to another game. So that is the one downside of playing Warlords on the Anniversary Redux collection using this controller. You kind of have to want to play Warlords and nothing else for the rest of the afternoon because you can't actually get out of here. And that's okay. I mean, it's a great game, but just one thing worth noting that Warlords, you can't exit. Anyway, that's it for NeGcon games that are not driving games. Next time I fire this thing up, I am going to use this on a variety of different types of racing games, because this is really where its strength lies. And until then, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.